Good afternoon. Just online, can you get us where? Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Okay, thank you. So we are starting the program.
Everybody, and welcome to this orientation session for the Cohort 10 data analysis training at Ferdsilinks. We are very happy to have you. I will say welcome. We're together. Those who are online.
Thank you, madam.
Okay. You're really welcome.
Hello.
So, yes.
We are getting you.
Okay, please, we'll come to introduction. Just want to welcome everybody. Okay, so please, as we saw in the platform, the orientation is both online and offline simultaneously. So we are addressing an audience in front of us and as well people in the online medium. So please, you endeavor to have a quiet environment around you so that you can be able to follow up. Thank you so much. So, I would just want to say something very briefly about Ferdsilinks. We have already shared an orientation guide in the platform. I don't know whether all of us have downloaded. Have we done so?
Hello, sorry, I didn't follow.
I'm saying that there's a document that has been shared in the platform already so that we can follow from there. For those who are online, do we have that already?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, that's good. So based on that, we just have a brief background of Ferdsilinks. It's good we should know ourselves, and from there we can carry on. We don't really intend to make this session a very long one. Like we indicated, it's just for us to lay some issues that will guide our training. And we always love that our trainees should be part of it so that we don't come and implement something that will be difficult for them to follow. So please, we really call on your cooperation. We need to talk about our timetable. We need to talk about some rules that will guide us and many other things. So please, you'll be called upon to contribute in one way or the other as we progress. So Ferdsilinks is an educational institution. We are guided by the fact that we promote academic excellence through teaching, writing, and publishing. And Ferdsilinks has so many departments, and one of which is the academy, which is what we are here under. And this was born from the burden to enable interested persons in research in business to be able to expand their scope in order to grasp the skills necessary to excel in different domains. And most importantly, those who are pursuing academic research and those who are equally practicing research in different forums, in dimensions like organizations. So for the past years, we have already organized some different cohorts, and today we are beginning an orientation session for the cohort 10. For the cohort 10 of the academy. So we are really glad to have you, and we say, please feel free. You should raise your questions, ask what you can ask. a lot will be discussed, but much more when the classes will begin. We'll be able to have more from our instructors and the administration. So I think that will be that for now, and we can be able to get others maybe welcome us in this session. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon. You're all welcome. I'll just start by giving my name. And before I do that, it's good that we pray. I think maybe she missed out the aspect of prayer. Let's just pray. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, King of Glory, we thank you for bringing us here today. There is a purpose why you brought us here. Pray that, Father, as you gather us, you will help us achieve that which we're here for. Both from the domain of from the part of students and the instructors, they will be able to help us to achieve our own purpose why we're here. Guide us, help us to go through this training, and that, Father, will be smooth as we go. Thank you, Father, even as we're here. Help us when we're done, we'll go home safely. As we pray in Jesus' name, amen. So, for me, I'm Ferdsilinks. I'm a data analyst by profession. That's what I do on a daily basis. And so, apart from being a data analyst, I am the founder of Ferdsilinks. Ferdsilinks is, like she started, is more or less an educational that we train, we empower students to get practical skills that are of global relevance. And so amongst the many skills that are out there, data analysis happens to be one of the top skills that you can sit at home and work self-clearance far and near. And so educational wise, I have a diverse kind of education. I have my undergraduate, I did banking and finance. Master's, I did sociology, PhD, maybe something else. Still. But then on daily basis, what I basically do is that we analyze data, both for both academics and corporate studies. And so in 2019, how this training came about is that we had more work that we could satisfy the clients. And because of that, one of my colleagues that we said, but why not just train some persons so that they can work, since it was difficult to get people who already have the trained skills. So the program started with the objective of just training some persons who assist us. And after training the first group of persons, another set came in that we heard that you've done some training, we're interested. And so far, since 2019 till now, we've had about 10 cohorts. And the training has been successful. A good number of them are already working. Some are working on a private basis. For instance, if you have been following our posting online, you have seen that some of them are working. For instance, there is one who, after going through the training, defended his PhD. Is working with CBC, different persons that are working. And as we train more and more, we see so many persons showing interest that they want to learn. Partly because the world today is data-driven, and partly because even to succeed today, apart from working for a company, data analysis, basic data analysis skill is becoming more or less a common need for most of the applications. Not necessarily because you want to change your profession from being an accountant to become a data analyst, but that if you are an accountant and you have some basic skills in how data can be gathered, how data can bring basic meaning, you can do better in your job. And so many persons are indicating interest and getting trained. For this year, I think we have trained about 3. This should be, I think, the 8th or the 4th cohort, if I'm not mistaken, for the year, and this is the last. Normally, we did not have the intention of training for this year. That's one thing. We don't really have the intention. I don't know. There's somebody who contacted me who was recommended. I don't know. Are you the one? Somebody contacted me. I said, no, we just ended. Keep insisting, not cohort again, keep. And so because of that, still the pressure, we had to organize this cohort, believing that it's the last. And so it's the last for the year, actually. And so having been training over time, we've seen that there's really a big gap between what students learn in school, what the company needs, and even our initial plan of action. We discovered that, especially in our setting, we are updating the training to meet the corporate needs. For instance, I think he was here when before others came here. I was discussing with him. He just participated in about a week-long training in the same field, and he has started this program. He just called me today that, what about that program? I said, we're starting today, and he showed up. Even though those who indicated interest earlier, most of them are not yet there. It's not uncommon. And so when he started, so many activities he couldn't complete. But as he progressed in the ladder of his career, he sees the more reason why he should learn the program. And as I'm saying, I will give room for us to introduce ourselves, why we're here. And in the course of that, we'll see if the objective of this training meets our own individual objective, and we'll be able to set out. Basically, the way we do the training is that it's a more practical oriented. It's not about telling stories. It's about doing it real time. And so one of the requirements that you must have is having a laptop. You must have a laptop. If you're taking online, you must have a laptop. You must have access to internet. If you have taken it here, you must ensure that you have a laptop and install the programs, because just the first 2 classes are dedicated for theory. So if you came in today without the machine, it's not a problem. You can come in the next class where we'll start, because we're taking the basic concepts. But subsequently, you need to have your machine. We don't say 2 persons sit, you sit on your machine, so that as we're doing it, projecting and you're seeing. So that is how it works. So briefly, that's just how the program came into being. And I will just want us to introduce ourselves, maybe a bit about your education now, your career, why you want this program, and what you hope to achieve at the end of these 2 months. Then I believe that this should be for those who are online and offline. Just do like that. So without much, I want to give to, at least I know him personally, Mr. Nemo. Welcome, sir. You can just be audible so that those who are online can also take.
Okay, so my name is Samuel Nemo. This is the 8th call that I'm participating. The first call I tried, but due to work and other reasons, I wasn't very consistent. And that time I was just studying to keep the knowledge. I was not really in need of the knowledge. Or maybe I was needing it probably because of the master's program that I enrolled. So for my education, I have a first degree in management and a master's of business administration, MBA in project management. And my defense, my dissertation defense is after next week, my final defense, the MBA program in project management. And I have done other courses like the PNP, project management certification exams. I've done many other short courses. So for my career is I'm looking forward to become a meal expert. I'm into meal. Meal means monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning. It is more conspicuous in the development and humanitarian world. So as we speak now, I am the meal and safeguarding officer for Action Against Hunger in Southwest region. So this job is new. I think this is the 8th month in this current office. Action Against Hunger is an international humanitarian development development and humanitarian organization with head office. It has many head offices, but the head office for Cameroon mission is in France. So for the past 4 years, I worked in an organization that is a contract development and verification agency for the Southwest region as community verificator. There I was a supervisor, mostly concerned with collection of data. And that is why, since I was more of data collection, I wasn't deep, I was not deep into data analysis and reporting. And that is one of the reasons why the 2 initial cohorts that I enrolled in this program, I did not finish them because at a certain point there was no very strong need for the skill. But now that I am a meal officer, my work spans from data collection, data analysis, data interpretation, and reporting. So as we speak now, it is now that the gap, there's a skill gap. A skill gap, it means that I am very skillful in data collection. I am very skillful now in data analysis. But when it comes to data analysis, I am skillful in data analysis. But when it comes to data interpretation and reporting, I have issues. Because if you can analyze data, but to interpret it, data is mostly interpreted by statisticians. Like when you talk about these probability issues and many other sub issues, that's probability. That is more of statistics. So it's done by statisticians. So it is now that there is a serious need for this particular skill. I've just gone through the course outline and the module that I got. So I have discovered that by the end of this course, my problem will be resolved. The particular problem that I need now will be resolved by this course. So that is why this afternoon, I just saw the stuff on Facebook. I just called the number that immediately, luckily that Mr. Ferdinand picked up. And he told me that it's starting. I had to take a decision this afternoon. I have to do this course. So basically, I think that is why I really need the course. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That has been quite elaborate. And so we heard him. So just give us your name and then.
Good afternoon. My name is academic-wise, I recently completed an HND in software engineering. So after that, I decided to pursue a bachelor's degree as well as software engineering. But later around the line, they asked us if we want to divert at the different options where we had data analysis, we had cloud computing and software. So when I was browsing online for very important skills in the job market, the most search for skills right now in the job market, that data analysis was very high on the ladder compared to the 2 other options. So I decided to look into data analysis more. So while looking into it, I found that it use a lot of statistics, probability, and maths is an area where I've always had a bit of more strength than all other areas. So I felt that it tell me more than more of the other areas. I decided to embark on it. So when I was actually writing exams in school, actually when I received a flyer from someone with Ferdsilinks, advertising Ferdsilinks, so I read it and I said to take one of the numbers and I found out about the program. So I said to enroll. So what I want to gain at the end of the program is I want to know how to first of all gain data, analyze it, explore it, describe it, report and write. Because this will help me greatly in the job market. Because so many jobs now need data analysts, people who can work with data, people who can analyze data, be able to find patterns that will help you make proper decisions. Also, data analysis is very important as it can help you to work just from home. You don't necessarily need to go somewhere or leave your house and go for it. You can just sit at home, you download your data, even from a picture, like using Excel, you can take just a picture and grab data from there, analyze and do whatever you need. So it's a very good field because it helps you to you can even stand alone, not necessarily work in a company or something, you can stand on your own. So I felt like it was a very important thing for me to embark on and help me as I enter the job market to be ready for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Did not get the name. Can you just
I haven't sound that.
can I just start from there? I know I was
So, I have a degree in law and presently pursuing my master's in marketing and communication. Why am I here? I'm here because for the past 7 years, I have 7 years of work experience, let me call it work experience. And while in that domain, I thought I had a mastery of my job description, which is childcare. So I had an opportunity in that's January 2021, and I went in for a competition for an alumni position in US sponsor programs. And I discovered during this time that the people I went against were in my same field, experts, but their expertise were backed by skills, which I didn't have. So somehow I felt defeated at the start. And as everything went, they said, as the saying goes, you who have mouth can never get lost. You always find your way around. I happened to win the elections and was made Secretary General for US sponsor programs. The challenge I face now is that the work requires a lot of data, a lot of analysis, which I thought it was my normal reporting, which I have always been used to. And this somehow, it challenged me. Yeah, it challenged me because when I took up the program for marketing and communication, it was a completely different field from my initial legal studies and even my legal practice. I went in for this program because of corporate communication and marketing in general, because my interest is to analyze the marketing strategies of NGOs. So I was facing difficulties, honestly. I almost gave up on my master's program because it's not like a usual UB style of studies. It's extremely practical. They need monthly results, and it's not just results in your knowledge, results financially. You have to do the marketing analysis. You have to make sure, capture the market. So it was extremely challenging. But when I got to this program in Yaoundé, I discovered that I cannot quite run from this data stuff. That the earlier I find a solution and plunge in and learn as fast as possible, the more I'll pacify my career and gain the confidence I need. Because right now in my office, I'm forced to depend on my rivals a lot, and it's somehow embarrassing. And if I don't want to depend on them for that reason, I'm forced to look for an external person to do my work, so I do my presentations. And I don't want it that way. So That's why I'm here to exploring all the areas of data that are beneficial to my country.
You're welcome. And with us there is co-instructor, Dr. Fru. Welcome, sir. So, Doctor, do you have something to say before I get back to? Okay, sorry. Oh, online. Are we there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Ako, can you just tell us about yourself and why you are here?
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so privileged to be here. Yeah, my name is Michael Ako. I'm a final year student of University of Benin, Nigeria. Yes,
Okay.
and I want to start writing because I'm an educational student, computer education precisely with curriculum and instructional technology. So I want to go into research and writing. So that's one of the reasons I want to learn the part because I'm very interested in that aspect of my career in writing papers and publishing them. So it's one of the reasons why I'm here. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you. The next person,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Franklin.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Franklin the 3, and I'm calling of F, but I've been working as a monitoring and evaluation officer in a number of projects, and it entails me carrying out data analysis and using a number of programs to be able to get the desired results. So that's me, and the reason I'm here is because I really want to learn SPSS first. It's a software I've not used, so that I can be able to put it alongside the other softwares which I use for data analysis and better results. And I also think that in the future I can be able to get into serious data analysis away from not from the NGO kind of data analysis we are doing, but into the kind of data analysis that even from home I can still make money, because one source of money is not enough to make a living. So I'm hoping that to get knowing many of these softwares, I can be able to diversify my sources of income. And tomorrow, why not be an instructor too and help others around me?
Very important. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, I think about a good number of persons applied, and we have, let's start talking the statistics, about 40% present or less. But it's always good for a start. Along the line, there's some person who did not even apply that will show up. And so, one of the things I always say is that one thing when it comes to this program, we consider adult learning. Why do we consider adult learning? Because there are people who are already working. Most of the people, they already know where they're going and they're coming here for a purpose. You don't need to run after them to say, no, come and learn this and that, right? And so I believe we have valid reasons for why we're here. And so I'll just give the room for my colleague to say one or two things before I come back to take an overview of the entire program we'll run and certain things that we need to understand about the field of data analysis in general. Thank you.
I want to say that and so please, here we feel like we have to do background first and how you need to go about your data collection, because you cannot collect wrong data. I want to have very important results. So we start right from your methodology, like one of the questions online saying. Start from your method, how you the various research designs you need to know
so that you know what to report. So you have come to the right place. I'm not speaking because that number one time, most sacrifice time. Because in the previous call, what I noticed that persons that others they leave either by natural selection or artificial selection. But we are just feeling that you get your machines ready, we are available, get your machines ready, and you sacrifice time, more time for this period, so that we don't have, even if no matter what, sometimes skip some programs that making sure that this period that you have sacrificed, you are going to maximize it. Because it's somehow disturbing when you come and the student is not there. For you to cover 3 hours in lecture again, it's not easy. It's not easy. And sometimes you might not give it the way you gave it that time because you have to research and give it through. So as time proceeds, we are going to have a lot of thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And my colleague here will say what also. Adam. Okay, thank you. And I'm sure she's the one who started, but she can just say.
Okay. Degree in accounting, essay in management. I happen to be a graduate of Ferdsilinks So, actually, I am a worker at Ferdsilinks as well. So, I will not want to go much into how analysis and training is actually actually the source that's feeding me now. So actually seeing some so all around is going one way to the house of God. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Joining us, we have Mr. Nestor. I think as we progress, he will find himself to locate. We'll just have to continue. So, we are all welcome. We've heard what prompted you to have interest in this program. We've also given you a part of our story, why we started the program, and what we have been able to achieve thus far by training a series of cohorts. And one of our main objectives is making sure that students get the practical skills. That's why we always re-emphasize the 10% theory, 80–90% practicals. And so the field of data analysis is one of the top fields in the world. He mentioned he Googled it, you can do it for yourself. And at times I ask myself, why? The reason is simple. Before now, when you go into a company and they're writing a CV, they say we need somebody with 10 years, 20 years experience. Why do they need that much experience? The truth is that the person has stored a lot of data about the job such that the person can take more efficient decisions that are accurate. That's the reason why they need, because working in something for 10 years, you've stored a lot in your brain. And so you're able to process that information and make decisions with relative high accuracy compared to somebody that has little information. Somebody with 5 years may not be able to have stored information compared to somebody with 10 years, and so somebody with 1 year will not be. And so differences in accuracy comes up because they have a lot of data. You have been doing it, you have devised different strategies of doing it, and so. But then as time progresses with the advancement in technology, computing, cloud, and there are different softwares. And so Different industries traditionally used to spend a lot on data, statistics. Before then, we mostly use the word statistics. Now we're using the word data. Statistics, especially the insurance. Before you say, okay, we'll give you insurance, you need to know whether the probability that the person will be able to die within a year or so, and can you make up? They used to do a lot of calculations. And as computers and others emerged, people discovered that you don't need that too much statistical mathematics to be able to do statistics, because software emerged. There's somebody who did literature, history, can also do analysis and have the same accurate results. So the rise of data analysis simply says we want to, the human brain, when it stores a lot of information, can make efficient decisions, but cannot make efficient decisions like a machine that collects data from different sources and analyze, because when they give you 1,000 numbers, already your brain starts getting, you will not be able to trace patterns. But the machines will be able to trace the patterns and say, okay, last year, this is what you have been eating, we know that you eat this in the afternoon. You are not there, they just collect your information and say you eat, and that's what you eat. Google knows that somehow, maybe the advert was pushed to you because they discovered that maybe based on your activities online, you have been trying to Google search, data analysis, and so on and so forth. So they know your interest. And so they're able to target. And so it is the power of data that helps people take decisions that achieve their determined or their expected outcome. Because they know that if I'm spending 200,000 on advert, this 200,000 will be able to generate, they can predict how much they intend with a certain level of accuracy, right? Using the principles of what? Statistics. So in effect, data analysis is not only for you to become a data analyst. First, it's for you to understand how statisticians think and how these statisticians' way of thinking helps in what? Efficient decision making. There are different branches, there are different dimensions, and you hear that you need to understand what a data analyst, a data scientist, a data architecture, and so on and so forth. But they have one thing in common. They're dealing with data. There's somebody who has to just collect data, right? There's somebody who analyzes the data. There's somebody who has to collect the data, analyze the data, report the data, right? And implement the results. So we discovered that there is a lot in the world of data. And so the rise of data and its success has grown so wide because companies, we see Google, Facebook, Twitter, and the rest, within a short span, they have become global giants because of their ability to influence decisions informed by data. And so everybody's rushing to use data to take a decision. If these people, if they tried, there was a study that was conducted. What makes some of these companies to be successful? Is it that their management are so smart? No, there was no statistical evidence to show that the people that are running this company are smarter than the rest of the other companies, right? So they discard the aspect of management. Is it that they have too much resources? No, resources, they're companies that they have a lot of money and so on and so forth. So they're able to, and one of the things that stood out was what? Data. That is, they have a kind of strong zeal for data utilization in their decision making. Their decisions are not that you sit and you guess. Yes, we will not discard the experience, right? But that data complements experience. When you go into the hospital and you meet a doctor, say, I have stomach, my stomach is making like this, and the doctor is listening. After you explain 1, 2, 3, what happens is that the doctor opens the brain, scan your symptoms, and classify you. Now, the doctor is making a kind of analysis without being conscious that he or she is analyzing the data. Because, okay, if the stomach is giving this complaint, and maybe you have this sign and this sign, probably, and they use a lot of probability. That's why when they go say, go and test for typhoid, go and say it's not typhoid. Okay. They're using that elimination method based on highest probability. based on the signs or the symptoms you explain, the thought that you could be from the database might be typhoid, right? But you went to the lab and labs, they still did the same way because the lab still gather all those signs and say, no, it's not typhoid. This is what is, right? Or they say, we have not seen typhoid since you went for typhoid. Come by doctor say, okay, it's not typhoid, maybe it could be malaria. So you go now and say, okay, it's malaria. They're still using the principle of data, consciously or not. But if this doctor could use just a software that he has collected, and you come as you're putting the science and just putting, okay, malaria, this, at the end of the day, this machine automatically says, go and test for typhoid, right? And the doctor's brain is saying test for typhoid. The accuracy level will be higher rather than the doctor just using his. And so when they go and test now, the system's information, what the data says, and what experience says, give a better result. And most of the time, the results will be more accurate. Now, in statistics, we always say we have a certain degree or certain level of confidence, right? We are sure that based on this information that we have collected, and if the information is accurate, then we are 95% sure that this is what will likely be. Then there's 5% probability that that might not, but most of the time that 95% holds. So that is the idea of why we see the rise in the world of data. Now, apart from the companies taking decisions, every higher institution, you must undergo process, right? You must do thesis writing and so on and so forth. And in thesis writing, there is the aspect of what? Data analysis. They're made it mandatory, which means if University of Buea has 3,000 master's students, all of them must pass through the data analysis field. They must have something to do with data. You can pay somebody to do it or whatever, but that you cannot run away from data. So if University of Buea has 3,000, and you check all the 10 state operational universities in Cameroon, 3,000. So how many persons need data per year to go through? You'll see the database. Then the whole universities in the world, because all universities, very few institutions allow you to go through. There are some institutions that all what they do is research-based. They don't even go to say you do at least coursework. You have done a course where you want to come and they confer you maybe a certain certificate. You don't have to go through the research process. And so it tells you the database or how fast the field of data is. You are doing health sciences, you are doing banking, you are doing marketing, you are doing insurance, you are doing NGOs, especially NGOs, because we have seen that most of the workers that even come, or those who come for this training, a significant proportion of them work with NGOs. Why? Because they deal with a large proportion. You are dealing with so many persons. And so the decision cannot be like, I'm working selling my store, I can just do anything. But with an NGO, you know that the decision you take affects thousands. And so you need to increase your accuracy. Imagine that you are the monitoring, or let's say the program coordinator. And so you want to distribute mosquito nets in the Southwest. And so you just get up and say, okay, I think we'll need maybe 10,000 mosquito nets. But there are more than 100,000 persons in the Southwest. How many will you give? But once you know that I have 100,000, that's data that's telling you, sorry, data that's saying we have 100,000. What proportion do you want to give? I want to give 50%. You know that you need about 50,000 mosquito nets. So as simple as that, you need to know. And that's why when you are, we want you to understand that the idea is translating what you are learning to your own field. We'll try to take examples from here, from there, from that, and that. But the concepts remains the same, whether you are history, accounting, economics, computer, or whatsoever. The concepts are the same. Now, the field application matters. That's why, if you go by what they say, a data scientist, we have one, the domain knowledge. You must be an expert in your field. Yes, I'm an expert in accounting, right? But an expert in accounting will do well if you have this data analysis skills. if you only specialize in data analysis without being an expert, you find it difficult to make meaningful decisions because you lack the domain knowledge. So one, you want to preferably be an expert in the field and add the skills to it because it improves your efficiency. It helps you grow in your career ladder. It helps you to be able to be among those who take decisions. And that's one of the things that if you know how to use data, just the basics of data, you'll likely be among those that takes decision either in top companies. You cannot be saying because they want to. You will say, okay, but based on this data that we have, this decision will not give us success. That is the preamble behind the field of data and why it's increasing. Well, Cameroon is getting it, and the rate of getting is low. Unfortunately, our universities have not done a good job, and they still not to have seen that there's a big gap. Although you see most of their courses will say quantitative techniques and the rest, but the way they teach is still very theoretical, still the, let me say, the 1980s approach of teaching, where you learn everything, you learn what is a computer, how a computer looks just on paper. But we have thousands of softwares that even the basic, let me use it, PB, my PB might not be basic, that can run that program. And so we focus a lot on theory, such that even at the end of the day, students go through, they do their masters, they do their PhD, then you give them data, whether the data is clean or not, they will not know. You give them a machine and they even open a program, it becomes difficult. And until we embrace the data world and the power that it has, we'll keep somehow, I believe, lacking behind because our decisions are limited to what? Experience and intuition. Experience and intuition are all relevant, but they're not enough to help us achieve major decisions. All right? Now, that is the preamble behind data. But now, how can you succeed as a data analyst? It's a broad question. We're not saying change your field. Keep your field at the back of your mind, right? You're doing computing, fine. But you can still use data to do better computing. That's what we're saying, right? Or you want to become a specialist, a data analyst. So there are a range of applications and range of things that are important for you to learn. First, you need to be able to understand statistics and probability. That's the crux of the matter. Statistics and probability, because all decisions are taken using some kind of statistics and probability. Statistics has to do with the collection of data. Probability is giving the chances that an event will occur. So putting them together, right? And so you must have a basic understanding of this concept and how they interplay for decision making. So that is one domain that, as somebody who has the interest of understanding and having influence in the world of data, you need to keep an eye on the concept of statistics and the concept of probability. Not necessarily learning the entirety of it. That's why there's a difference between a data analyst and a statistician. A data analyst is somebody who can analyze data using a software, might not understand, or you are able to analyze the data, interpret the data, and recommend. But you don't know how the mathematical reasoning behind the mean that you're using that model. How was the mean built? How was the regression model built? You might not really have a good understanding. If you have better, right? You might not necessarily have. But statistician is somebody who says, okay, this is how a mean is derived. You know how to derive the mean and go through the necessary mathematical procedure. Whatever we're saying with computer, you can do data analysis without seeing hardcore mathematical equations. So you have phobia for mathematics, you can still succeed in data analysis. You just need to develop a kind of interest for figures, right? Some figures will be very large, but in most cases, they're not that large to scale people. But it's just to develop a love for figures, because it's not about the mathematics that you really need to learn. That's the first thing. So you need to learn probability. The second thing is that data is found in a database, right? We've talked about the probability part and statistics, but data is found in a database. What's a database? A database is like where data is stored. So you need some basic knowledge to be able to retrieve data either from a system and use the data. And so it is recommended for somebody who wants to go deeper in the field to be able to have some basic knowledge in programs like Microsoft Access, it's a database, MySQL, right? There's so many of them. You can choose one. You don't need to learn all of the different programs. But all of these things, they come with time. Now, there's the aspect of reporting that goes with visualization. Now, once you analyze data, there are two types of analysis that you have to do. We have exploration and explanation. Once you analyze data as a statistician or whosoever as a manager, you want to take a decision, you need to present that data. Maybe you are the manager, but you have to present to the board, right? Presentation has to do a lot of visuals. People like to see the pictures. They say a picture has 1,000 words. So when it comes, you have to learn visualization, a principle of visualization. And that's where programs like Tableau, Power BI, and so many others, they come in. Even dashboard, you have to build a dashboard. A dashboard is just interactive chart or graphs. That's why I call it dashboard. You may want to see the number of students that are coming from the particular town. You just click and it filters and you see. Power Excel can do that. You also need to learn spreadsheets. Spreadsheets are like Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel. Now, especially in our setting, we need to learn Excel. Because most of the data in our setting is still found in Excel. Very few persons, they deal with database. They see Excel for the data collection, inputting, and analysis. So your ability to use Excel to sort the data, to classify, and so on, and maybe to filter out, and is very, very vital. And Excel is important. Now, you need to also learn a non-programming base like SPSS, and there are so many of them. So, but what I always say when it comes to programs is that the program is not really the major thing at first, right? Mean remains mean, whether you are using a calculator, you are counting with your hands and calculating it, you're using an Excel, you are using Python, you're using R. So what is important is not which program you use to get the mean first, right? But you understand what means is and how it can be contextualized in your setting. You get it? So there are different programs. We have Excel. What Excel does, SPSS can do. But the one you learn and you can use best is important. However, in industry setting, your company might want to use a particular program because most of the data is coming from, right? Or the management was using this kind of program. So they want you to use it. So you will be obliged to learn the program based on company needs. But the program doesn't come ahead of the knowledge of what the data means. So it's important for us to understand. However, my experience, when I take data at times, I use more than 5 programs to analyze one data. I may want to filter, Excel will do it best, right? But I want to run descriptive, SPSS can do it best for me. And so in my data in Excel, I analyze and I visualize in Tableau. So I have to do cleaning in Excel, analysis in SPSS, visualization in Tableau, right? And if the data was in a database, I may need to query it using any database program that I'm using, can transfer it. Now, Excel acts as a database as well, but it has a limitation in that it has the number of rows that it takes, and so you cannot go beyond that. So when you are dealing with a large database, a company that has lots of information and data like Google, cannot use Excel. Even Tableau, they're using things like Tableau or Power BI because it can go beyond 17,000 rows. Yes, with Excel, I think after 15,000, the data just crashed. It just crashed. So it doesn't have that ability. So what are we saying? First, data is important because it improves our ability to take accurate decisions. Second, as somebody who aspires to become a data analyst, or you want to use data in your role, there are some key programs or some key things you need to understand before you succeed in the field. Now, most of what I've said will come with time, right? But you just need the basic knowledge to begin. If you need those frequencies and percentages to start, you start from there. The rest, you get them in the field. There are certain things you can learn, then you will not use them, maybe in the next 5 years, right? But you just get a one and discover that what you did not, you thought that it was useless, you need it here. So that is how it works. Yes. So in effect, the opportunities are broad, right? We've seen that if you want to work in educational system, you can just go. Some of the students we have trained. There's one that just occupied a whole institution in Boya. And so we want all the works analyzing for students. There are people who are working on NGOs. There are those who are working from home. For instance, I must not come to the office before I work. I must not see my client. We discuss. And if you're in America, I will ask for an American price in Cameroon. So give me leverage, right? Because at the end of the day, if you have the same result as somebody who has analyzed, now the person will pay cheaper compared to what you are paying in America, and I will still earn higher compared to what I've done in Cameroon. So it gives leverage for both parties. And American gets, that's why even with thesis writing, most people now go back to Africa because they will not pay as high as in America, but might not pay as cheap as if they're in Cameroon. So you're able to mingle in between and maybe float above just the average situation. But at the end of the day, do you know why there are so many opportunities and we have few persons? Because the field is hard and broad. As sweet as we have said, it's a difficult field. You have to learn, you have to study a lot. Even when you are working, it's like programming. For those someone with basic programming knowledge, a programmer works live, must always be online. Very few programmers can do something meaningful when they're not online because it's a working office. You're working, you're researching, you're getting, so even data analysis. After learning and learning and learning, you still need to be learning and learning. Learning never stops. You want to learn this, a new program is coming. If you want to learn this, a new better way of doing it, and so on and so forth. And it's changing fast. The challenge we're getting is that the way the new modern programs are coming up, they even want to eliminate the data analysts in the system. Data analysts are automating themselves from the job. Now, once a task can be automated, they design the system to do it, they run the data, interpret, you need little knowledge. If they see data can be clean and everything put to the computer, give us accurate results and can give you basic recommendation. This value is above this, which may maybe, for instance, I'm using a smart PLS for analysis. What happens is that when the value is good, the automatic puts is green. If you don't understand, so you see green, it means it's within the acceptable zone. You may not know the nitty-gritty, but just seeing green, red means there's an issue. So if you wanted to look for, maybe my percentage is good, if I take this, it will be good. First is green, you already know that they're giving you what? A blue, a green light to say, good to go. And so even programs are becoming too smart, such that in the distant future, this is my own prediction, we will not need some companies now that they need so many data analysts, they will need just few persons. And like what has been done with the accounting field, even with data analysis and so many other fields, that will take place. Even the marketing, we have AI marketing. You just go now, you can just go online. You say, this is I want to create an advert. You just ask for keywords. And what happens? They generate auto-generated advert that has been vetted, that you discover that it will be more than what you could sit and write, because it takes concepts from different directions to develop one single advert. And so, if you must succeed, you must put on what? A thinking cap, a research cap, and a desire. And if you do well, they pay, you've seen it. It's among the top in the world, right? So it's not me who is saying it, you know it. They only pay because few persons are available. Well, it has been a recent increase in the demand because of the success of the company. Some of the companies were just enlisted, right? And so many people now, companies are still looking for. Why companies are looking for? The truth is that engineers are developing systems to replace people. Robots will be able to, but it's a modern trend. It's not limited to data analysis. It's to every field. So, but whatever happens, the human ability was have a role. Yes, robot cannot replace human being. So in effect, if you're in management and you know how to interpret and present results, you have a higher probability of going up the ladder of the company and influencing decision rather than just being efficient in your tasks. So the skills become useful. If you are in management or in whatever career and you aspire to lead, then start telling them that if we do this based on data, these are the outcomes that we'll get. And we discover that everybody will listen to you, because last time you told them that by December, prices will go down by 10%, and the prices went down by 11%. You were not 100%, but you saw that decrease before it happened. They will think that you're still saying, right? But you are just being analytical. So it is important for us to understand the place of data. We already know the relevance, but I want to tell us that what we're here is to guide you. We'll give you the foundation. That's why we assume that nobody, as we're coming here, well, some person are already, but we take you from ABC. We don't assume you have prior knowledge. We don't think that you've already learned, and so even if you have learned, well, it's a plus. We still want to take you from the foundation. Once we lay the foundation, we can continue to build on it, or you can go and build on it. Now it depends more on you, right? You can build on it together, or you want to build on it on your own. That's why we cannot say after 2 months, you become what? A professional data analyst. This is a program that can take maybe 2-3 years to perfect your skills, to learn different things. You can take 9 months, depending on what you get. So, any question, any worry thus far? Anyone? Yes, it runs for 16 days. Okay, this is my experience. Most of the people who do the 2 months most often go to the field and start practicing. They don't even advance. Does that tell me that they learn a lot? Well, they can learn. They might have gotten enough to kickstart, but believe me, that you learn about 30%. But there's 90%, 70% to go if you're a professional touch. But the 30% is good enough because you can start working and see the results. Yes, you don't, if you are using the program basically for decision making without being too much into data analysis, you might not have serious challenges after you have completed the effective 2 months. But if you want to use the program to maybe assist like other students who have to, then you might need to go further. Even if you don't go further, based in our environment, you'll still be able to meet up with the current one in our environment. But if you want to work, help Harvard, these students, you need a range of statistical tools to understand, and you need to also advance in the ability to report the results and so on. But like I said, after 2 months, you see people go on But as somebody have been practicing for long, I know they still make a lot of mistakes because in 2 months, there are a lot of errors that they will make, lots of errors that they will make. Not because they were not taught, but that partly because we're not taught, given that the time span is too short. But again, there are certain things that they only get better with time. Yes, some things that you only get better with time. Even if you start the first day, after learning, you will see that you find challenges. The second day, you get better, get better, get better, get better. But again, after the 2 months, most persons, they go and they start working their money. Are they professionals? No. So say it's a big no, right? Because they won't have learned a lot of things. Proper data cleaning, they won't have learned because data cleaning in a professional setting takes 80% of the time. Takes 80% of the time. Especially if you work, for instance, you mentioned that you work in an international organization. What happens is that if you work in an international organization, there's a tendency that figures in France may be in Europe, but figures in Cameroon may be in what? France CFA, right? In data analysis, you cannot compare the two figures. You must harmonize them to a common unit for comparison purposes, right? So those are basic principles of data analysis. If you don't understand, okay, someone will just say, okay, there are figures, yes, but they're calculating Cameroon in France CFA and these are dollars. And you want to take the two and measure and say, no, Cameroon is doing better. Not real. So you need to bring them either to France or to Europe or to France CFA, right? It's part of the process. The data like birds and the rest, which we will see. So outliers basically distort the whole data. Not from here, 50,000 francs. But if one minister comes in here who is making 5 million, the average of will go up significantly. It doesn't necessarily mean that our life has become better. So there's a tendency that you just take and say, wow, the average was high. But what made the average to be high? The data analyzer just say the average was high. You need to know why it's high. And so maybe for us to know the true picture, let's put away this person that is causing the average to be high and look at the reality before we bring back so we can see the difference. So those are some things that it comes now with perfecting the skills of what we will learn after maybe what we will learn during the 2 months. Right? So with that, any other question? I assume no. So how is our program going to run? This is how the program will run. We have our classes twice a week, Sundays and Mondays, for 3 hours, both online and offline. So 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. That has been the traditional time, unless we have a valid reason to change the time, but that has been the time that we keep. Now, what we always do is that we come the first day, we set the rules of the class. We agree, right? Once we agree, the terms and conditions, they become binding, unbending, or what? Irrevocable. Everybody follows. So the program runs Mondays and Tuesdays. Are we okay with those 2 days? I mean, Sundays and Mondays, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. So it's 3 hours. We're okay with the 2 days, right? And the length of time. Okay. That's the first thing that we all accept. Now, normally, we've said is practical. So the first 2 days, what we do is that we get concept. The second, as we have in our outline, we go into the practical part, which means start bringing your machines. Now, there is a modification to this cohort. And what's the modification? What we will do is that we have pre-recorded classes that we'll share, so you follow within the week, right? And why are we trying to do? So that when we come, we do revision and we add some new things that we have not added in the previous classes. For instance, in this training, we want to put more emphasis in the use of Excel than before. And without adding the number of days, right? And without adding our length of classes, how can we achieve that? It's now to give you pre-recorded material you follow, right? So we take some of the time to revise and we can create more time to get the new content. Well, that is done at our expense because we will not give you any extra cost. So you are benefiting just as an improvement to make sure that we meet up and we cover more than before. And we will need to expatiate more, to use Excel more, focus more on industry analysis more. Are we okay with that? So that's the second thing. Now, we always have a disciplinary aspect, and that has always been very, very important. How is that done? Our classes starts exactly at 3 p.m. Right? He has been here. Let me ask him the rule. I know he has been a victim. So he tells us. So what's the rule with respect to time? Tell us, don't ask us. Yes. So now we're not interested in mambo, but we always enjoy when we eat the mambo. That's basically. We start at 3 o'clock and we give a time lapse of 15 minutes, between 3 to 3:15. Now, why do we do that? We expect that between 3 to 3:15, people should come and sit, collect their data and set up their machines for work, right? After 3:15, if you come 3:16, you need to pay everybody in a class mambo. So mambo, at times, some people will pay. If the class is much, then you know, so we don't have a free price to bring the mambo. You have to. That's just the rule when it comes to late coming. And that has helped us. When it's 3 p.m., if nobody's exempted, even I mean instructors. If you are instructor, you come late, you do same. So it's not like it's for students. Everybody is part of it. So if it is 3:15 and the person who is supposed to take the class is not there, then the class expects that he should come and pay mambo for everybody, including himself. Yes. So that's how we treat the issue of time. Now, it has been clearly for those who are online. Those who are online, times to start and they're not there. But the challenge they face, which is obvious, for those online, since most often they try to play with time, is that when they don't meet up and they come later, they find it difficult to follow. That's a drawback. Because a class starts with what we cover, some key concepts, and once you miss them, you can come in and it's like, oh, remember this in not literature, right? It has elements of science. There's some key terminologies that once you don't get them, if you're saying them, just get mixed up and you'll be lost. So it becomes very, very important for us to understand that. So you need to be in class on time to be able to benefit fully from this training. So, any question with that? Any disagreement with the issue of time and mambo?
No, sir. It's
Okay. So you're accepting mambo and you're online. Yes. What is taught within the week? Yes. For instance, we can say to this week we're covering regression, and so we'll give you go and follow the lectures, right? The lectures are a similar class like this. Like we're discussing, this one is being recorded. So give a similar session for you to follow, And so the next class, we just come and say, where were the challenges? We do examples and move on. We believe that we're introducing it now. We don't know how it will go, but we believe that it helps us to save time for other materials to come in. If you have gone through the regression and we come out with no issue, we take few examples, we can easily go to the next topic. And so we have more time to do a lot of exercises, to expand and even do new things. We have the latitude to do as many things as we can cover within our 2 months time frame, right? So we will take 2 weeks, cover all the already content, the rest, and explore other things that we can explore. Like we said, during this period, we get 80%, right? There's still 80 or 70% that we are not covering. So we can get up to 50. It's good for us and no extra cost. Maybe we'll decide to say, become so generous to say no. If we have gone that way, we should. But for now, the institution wants us to get the best. That's just a motivation to this goal. Okay. Okay. No, there'll be assignments and you're expected. We're still progressing. Well, that's why we said it's a modification, right? We can change. But then, if we don't follow, one thing I started by saying this, we consider adult learning. People who know where they're going. You get it? And we have a time frame of 2 months cover. So you can get the best from us. You can get as much as you are willing to get based on what active you participate in the program. But we'll try to make sure that if at the end of the day we just cover what we set out to cover, fine. You get that? That was just something to help us get more than what the program states. But if we cannot, we'll make sure that we cover our usual content. Yeah. Oh, and my boss. There's no recap. Yeah. Just be audible. Just online and complain they can't get. Yeah. point. So we're saying that at the end of the day, we will try to cover, to give, sorry, for listening, and we will come and do revision. It's not like we'll just come and assume that you will cover the content. No, that's not what we're saying. But if you come and say, no, we can, let's move to the next topic. Fine and good, right? We move on. So now, in the light of previously, because this one now may interfere with the assignment. Previously, what we used to do is that every week we have an assignment. Yes. So we'll see how we blend the two. We have an assignment every week. There's an assignment, and the assignment is given after the class on Monday. And you are expected to submit on latest. You can submit on or before Saturday, 11:55 p.m. Now, if you don't submit before that time, if you submit thereafter, after maybe Sunday or 12 a.m., you will likely not get marks. Likely not get marks. Now, why we focus on professionalism, we equally believe that certification is important. Because you go somewhere and say you blend data analysis, to say there's any evidence, you should be able to at least have, apart from, say, give me a machine, say also give us a paper to prove. Before they give you a machine, they may give a machine, go and delete the system, right? So there should be a paper to prove that. So it's possible. Do you get that? Yes. So because of that, we used to, there's the aspect of online discussion on the platform. Since we'll be giving pre-recorded, maybe if you have questions, you can post them on the platform, start discussing before we finally get to class. So we encourage people to participate, and I believe our means will make sure that those who participate, maybe if there are extra bonuses, when you bring the bamboo, it doesn't mean we share. We can still take and use. We always have how to share back the bamboo. Doesn't mean that we automatically there are way to motivate. But at the end of the day, what is our overall objective? Then you gain the skills that you are here for. Now, we are not excited in numbers. We are excited in those getting the skills. But that is the objective of this training. So we'll encourage class discussion. We've said the primary application we use, there are thousands of them, but we use SPSS and Excel. Principally, we use Excel. SPSS will do a bit of Excel, but we are trying to add more weight to Excel because SPSS is good. It does far more than Excel, but most institutions, they still use Excel. Now, why it does more? Because SPSS was designed for analysis, but Excel is the type of program we call versatile program. Versatile simply means an accountant can use it, a marketer can use it, a statistician can use it. So it has limited functionalities, the add-ons that we can add to do better, but most often you discover that versatile programs are good. They might be. Yes, so that is with respect to application. Now, the grading system, class participation is important since we say we're giving certificate. So class participation is 5%. Online discussion, we rate it. If you're active online, 10%. Assignments, CAs, and final exams. But we don't have CAs, so we only have final exams. So the rest of 30% is for class participation, discussion, and the rest. And so we don't certify you if you are not.
Hello, sir. Sorry, I didn't get you well when you talked about the 30% and the 5%. Please, maybe can you come again?
No, I said the 30% is class participation, assignments, and the rest. Then 70% is exams. So write exams. And the exam is always practicals, both theory and practical, but more of practicals.
So do we have to come on site to write the exams, or we can take them online?
You take online. Take
Okay.
online. Yes. So for the fees, I believe we already know the fees. The fees for those who are taking the program offline is 75,000 and online is 50,000. So that's this respective piece. The training ends with graduation. Now we take a number of cohorts and we graduate at once. So we envisage that this should be the last cohort for the year and should end with graduation. And that should be, as you guys are done, we should just go into the graduation as a tentative program. Basically, that's the outlook of the program. If there's something that I'm not said that you think or an expectation, or then you can switch. Yes.
Ways to find out if this is a graduation, and then because sometimes graduation is becomes on cost. So is the cost inclusive in the fees?
No, graduation is independent. I'm not sure cost for graduation. Well, the graduation, those students plan the graduation, how they intend to. So it's not like we always look at how we want the graduation to be, very elegant or something, take pictures, and say, these are my colleagues, data analysis, bingo, so that when you go to professional work, I can also show you pictures. It's also for marketing, right? I expect that from here, we should market ourselves. We should start saying we are enrolled for data analysis. Let me tell you one secret now in the world of today. Getting the skill is one thing, selling yourself is another. And selling yourself to a bigger market is where, so the certificates you can use to post on your platform, to share, also people to link in. And so it's important for you to sell yourself. Graduation is just a way to sell yourself and tell people that this is a new skill you have acquired. But before you get to graduation, start posting and saying about it. Somebody will contact you, I need help, right? Yes. Well, now what we say is, even after the training, we still work. There are some persons that work here because of the training. There are people that they don't work within, and we outsource work. Since we're into data analyst company, if we don't employ you, but we know that you have the skills, when we have work, we outsource and you do. We don't need to come to the office to sit and work. And so that's how we're working, and we're building a network. Maybe by the time we're done, we might have established connections on institution for placement. He was already giving me an opportunity for data collection. And so when you come here, meet different persons, another person here. So that is how we have to collaborate, to work together to achieve collective success. Pardon. And then,
Okay, that, yes, I see some installment, and most of them is full installment. First, because I know first 2 weeks the training, usually go in for 60% of the fees, unless for the revision class. And that's done between the first.
So just to come in, normally this program had a discount for those who, if you had registered, paid your fees before now. Yes, we had a discount. I think 20% discount. Maybe they may give 5% discount for someone who pays today. Or 10%. I don't know. But then, like one of the persons online suggesting that, Frank, can you just maybe send out, maybe through voice what you are trying to explain, please? But again, like I said,
Hello.
yes, we can get to.
Yes, you made a comment concerning that while we are registered for this program, we can let people understand online that we are into this kind of program. And I added by saying that we can even help people so that they understand the skills which we have, and then later on we can charge them to pay for what we are doing already. So you do something for free, and then later on the person knows your skills, and then you can charge the person to pay for what you can offer, because the person already knows that the person knows and trusts in what you can do. That's what I was trying to say with the message.
Okay, thank you very much. Any job opportunity for us in data collection or analysis? I think it gives you.
That's what you just said. I think for your institutions, image, it's not wise to have your students trying to take the basics and capture others. Why am I saying this? Social media is so crowded with experts in code, and it's extremely frustrating to trust someone, trust a link, get on one or to WhatsApp, and discover that what the person is even talking about is normal. You're feeling like you have a laugh and this person was portraying himself like an expert, and you're just wasted your entire time. You may not have paid, but that breaks your spirit. Because you may not know the next thing to click on. So when your image is being used by, for example, it doesn't matter what the site that I get. If I'm using your company's name that I'm talking about, and someone tells me to do this, it's wrong. At that stage, when I've not been certified, trusting that by the time you're certifying me, trust my like so. Getting too fast into advertising or every little skills you are gaining and getting interested and getting to know that I think legally yes, and socially it's not good for any company's image.
Very true. I think it remains an important point. Yeah, there is aspect in data analysis which we always discuss, which has to do with ethics. Yes, there's an aspect. In data analysis, they always say it's easy to lie without data, but easier to lie with data. Yes. If I can easily convince you if I tell you that 90% of institutions in Northwest and Southwest are ready to employ data analysts. That's it. But I can just say most institutions will willing to employ. It doesn't really click. But when you add that percentage to it, the storyline seems too real. So that is the point. So as we are studying, we always come back to that part of being ethical. Especially we are dealing with applied data. We are dealing with applied data. It means if a figure is 10, don't write 100 and treat it as 10. Right? And so the ethical part, because it's much easier to just say, my data, wow, everything is significant. They're using the word significant, which is false, just to convince. And that's why, imagine that you are the statistician. And so after collecting electoral votes and they've done the counting and come and give, and you just interchange maybe 2 and 5. And say you say ni is 25 here, 15. Because some kind of you define who becomes the president. You define who becomes the president of the country just by that simple interchanging, whether by mistake or deliberate act. So when we are dealing with data and knowing that what you come and say, people will rely on it. You need to ensure that all the basic data ethical procedures were adhered to. So the conclusions you are giving, you're telling the people that 95% of the time, what you're saying will be real, and it should be real, unless the 5% occurs, which they give them that's by chance. You get that? And so even for the teaching, now, the aspect of maybe there's one principle in life. When you are learning, you get from mistake. Once you have learned and you are practicing, you'll be making mistakes, but you're getting better. But this is what I want to say. One of the reasons we decided to take this program and is because we believe that there's a need to impact the next generation. If you know that you will teach and teach well, but then you are not teaching under, if you want to teach under Ferdsilinks institution, then we need to know that you are teaching. That's one thing, right? Yes, we also need to. But it's always good to learn to the end before you start. Maybe saying that I can do it well. Or if you are telling somebody, say, okay, I'm still learning, the person understands you are still in the process. So we're just human and we can be dynamic. And like I said, statistician is a field that needs a lot of ethics because you can destroy a nation by just the figures. Yes. Yes. No, she was just saying, I think my point is, I came back to the part that there is the aspect of ethics, right? To just overrule the aspect of maybe you want to go and misrepresent the institution now or go and want to. That is important for you as you are learning. You should know that as a statistician, ethics guides the field. We'll talk about some of the ethical principles that you need to know, right, to help you. So you must start from here. And I wanted to share an experience with one of our previous students, which even brought up the aspect of the student left after graduation. When I was working with students, and what he basically does is that a student comes, he or she has not gone to the field, just come and give, this is my work, right? And so the student trainee sits, formulate data, and analyze. And so there was a point that he had a lot of work, in quotes. I said, we always have people, so we came back like, where's the data? I said, no, it's just, what is that saying? It's just, whether it's undergraduate or just HND. One, you have made the student to think that data is not, it's just anything, I just sit and collect. That's why we'll never be serious about collecting real data if you say go and collect, right? Secondly, you may seem as if something, so, but when it comes to the field, you want to make yourself in the field, it's always good to understand the code of conduct, which is vital. So that was saying was a general statement. So we told the student, no, that's not how we work. And if that's what you think that you should do, then don't say we taught you because that's not. Yes. But humans are humans. Ah, okay. Mm-hmm.
When maybe they pick whatever was taught and they ask where did you get what you was taught by the out of that excitement, because I may make a mistake after you certify me, you will see it as she did well for the exam, well in class, this should be a mistake. But an error,
It's different.
It's different.
It's true.
And when I'm saying this, we have this program in our way. And this particular guy was very well established. And they were teaching the ethical aspect. He went with some friends. he was teaching this course, it's just like they give you introduction and there's a part where they'll come and teach everything. But you do not wait for that.
For that part.
And you go and give it very vital information. And then you come to class and give you that secret which you're not supposed to share.
It's very true.
So these friends have a balance. And so, I mean, like, you know, like what.
And the aspect of the ethics did not even come in.
Exactly. This dropped the image of that. Because when they report, they linked it back to that.
That is very true.
And there was no certificate showing that it was changed. So that's what I'm saying. It's risky. Permitting your students to start sharing as early. Maybe after graduation, your certificate, you certified us, you left us out there, whatever comes the consequences are. But while still under you, the consequences, of course.
It's very true. The point is clear. I think even MT have been sending a message. If you had me to an electronic communication, I mean, post.
I have something to say. I just wish to say that point was very critical because there's a difference between professional ethics and organizational code of conduct. So I think what she's talking about was more related to Ferdsilinks code of conduct. While what you were, code of conduct for Ferdsilinks as an organization. And what we were talking about was more like professional ethics within the professional ethics of a data or a data analyst. So just to share an experience, last 2 weeks, I was with Dr. Emma, or the management lecturer. He told me that he sent students to Ferdsilinks for data analysis stuff. I was extremely happy. Why? Because it's Ferdsilinks who did my data analysis for my master's program. Now, based on that, it shows a level of recognition of Ferdsilinks, especially within Boya, as a data-related institution, because I think there is none for now. I think so. So now, if for some reason, for any reason, people are misusing Ferdsilinks to destroy the image that Ferdsilinks has been struggling to build over the years, so that is why, to me, I think that Ferdsilinks needs to sit up in the sense that before, because it should be able to differentiate between a student, a graduate of a student of like us now, we are students, a graduate of Ferdsilinks, and those who are practitioners within Ferdsilinks. For instance, you are a practitioner, all of those who are staff. I've noted here that there are staff, but us, our status of Ferdsilinks is students. So I think that there are some things that somebody is not supposed to use Ferdsilinks' name to do without an official authorization by Ferdsilinks authority. Yes, so if Ferdsilinks is giving people authority, there should be a limit to what the authority that is given to students, the authority that is given to just the graduate, and the authority that is given to practitioners, maybe those who have passed through. You have studied, you are a graduate, and then you have gone through a certain level of acceptable experience. That Ferdsilinks is sure that you can practice outside, especially with the name, so that the image of Ferdsilinks should not be tampered with. Yeah, so I think that is. Yeah.
Within 6 months, what they do, the employer will come to the office, you have their clients, the money they give you, your sample, you're working with this, and they have students. Parents will rent their apartment for children, and let them So I mean, they had a whole market until they, was tight. Because direct investment, then those who like the developers who were quick they were working with Google, they were working with amazing. But this company, they won the case.
Right.
Which was something that we also, even with my name, the things I signed, I mean,
It's very important.
there are times of come, we need this, I think I'm and I'll think like this. I'll read the document and I sign. I'm not doing online things. I'm not doing anything. I'm not saying. Because you will never know what is it, especially when you're eyeing international career, you want to advance. Immediately that mistake is done, whether you justify it, how, now that image is gone. And when you're maybe in a position where people recommend you, it's beautiful. But imagine a student going to copy data and putting 13, now, so it has to be such that you can even sue and make money out of such people.
Yeah, I think those are good suggestions. And so as we'll be progressing, be discovering new things, we're in a learning process. So thanks for all the inputs in that direction. I'm sure management will be taking notes, see how that should be taken into account. So any question again before we? Yes.
When I read through, I don't know that this is what it's just an observation. When I have gone through the modules that you shared, so when I went through it, I discovered that there is a note mention something. I don't know, it's not very clear. What is talking about? So he mentioned that the program also include part of data collection. So when I went through the stuff, that is more than what we said. So for me, the thing that I would like to advise so maybe like now that in your data man, people that you train, that are also amongst the students, privileged to have people who are both in the professional, maybe in academic, and so sometimes when you write stuff, maybe bring people from various backgrounds so that it's more
Okay, I think I understand the point. Now, basically, when we start the program, the concepts, they cut across the different dimensions. For instance, he mentioned the research design. We mentioned the different designs, and we don't treat that as a major aspect. From the concept, we're talking about sampling, population, and all of that. You see how they come into play. Because later on in the program, you see how population influence your decision making. So we are not really taking research methodology as a core principle. But then we have to say, before you get to, normally this is when we come, before you get to data analysis, right? There's that aspect of stating a problem, right? Reviewing what others have done, developing an instrument, then before you get to data analysis. So data analysis is not that an independent aspect. You have to do, you may not be collecting, you may just be analyzing data, but it's not before you analyze data, somebody must have collected it. Yes, and before you collect the data, there must be a problem that you need to have that you're trying to, don't just go and collect the data. So those concepts will put into the entire program, but not saying that we want now to take maybe what is thesis writing. That's what we're saying. That those concepts will touch them, just to give and understanding, before you understand where data comes in or data analysis comes in, you need to know maybe background to where you start before, because data analysis is just a stage along the process. It's not the end, it's not the starting of the entire process, but it's somehow in between. Yes, that's the idea. So, but what you've said is still vital. Yeah. But we are not saying that we take the time technology as a whole something we come and spend time. No. In terms of the concept, we'll talk on that just to help us understand it. So, any other question, contributions? Madam, that just came in. Welcome. Can you tell us anything you came in with an already done introduction? Okay, you just go on. Those online might not get your name, but it's okay. Okay. You're welcome. So what do you expect to get from this program? What's for you? Okay. So without any question, excuse me, I think now it's time to get to work. And that means we have to start. We are starting tomorrow, 3 p.m. And the role that we have set begins. Expected to be here 3 p.m. We don't have. Come again.
Hello, sir. Please, I didn't hear the time for tomorrow.
3 p.m.
The time for tomorrow.
3 p.m. Cameroon time.
Maybe,
Same time Nigeria.
Okay, 3 p.m.
Yes,
Okay,
3 p.m. Yes. So the hope is that it's always good, most important to participate in the first classes. Very, very important. Because we'll lay down the foundation of the key terms that we'll be using. Some people, when they come on the way, they find it difficult to follow because they're applying what was stated in the first classes. So with that, I think that should be all. We can take a group picture. And for those who may want to start the registration, they can meet her. And we begin our work tomorrow. We have a 2-month contract. So, I think we stay business casual or business professional. It's interesting. We've not observed such. That's why we believe that everybody recently has not really been that. Yeah, we'll do that. That one comes in anyway. Yes, we'll start to be able to get. So that's it. Mr. Ako, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Any question from your end? Any challenge? Any worry?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that fine? Is that fine? Okay, that should be all for today. Those who are online, and for those that are offline,